In a bombed out room in Belfast, a young boy is crying. He's alone and he don't understand how the teachings of one book, built on love and understanding, could cause the hurt and killing in his land. In an old part of Jerusalem, two children are playing. They run and laugh the way that it should be. But one will wear the star and one will wear the crescent. They'll grow up and change from friends to enemies, but we are one.
Hello viewers, you are welcome to another edition of the program Peace, Unity and Security Education, a program aimed at conscientizing the citizenry towards imbibing the spiritual and moral virtues of love, peace, unity, public trust, and service to humanity. The program is being brought to you courtesy of the National Spiritual Assembly of the Baha'i community in Nigeria in collaboration with the Foundation for Peace and Security Education, FOPSE. Our topic will be on overcoming corruption, promoting moral leadership and integrity in public institutions, the Baha'i perspective. And our guest is retired Commissioner of Police, Barrister Lawrence Alobi, who will be taking us through this very, very important discourse in our national life. Sir, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you and good morning.
Before we start, let's have a word of prayer from you as usual.
Yeah, thank you very much. Let us start with a prayer for spiritual growth. Let us pray. O God, refresh and gladden my spirit. Purify my heart, illumine my path, and lay all my affairs in thy hand. Thou my God and my refuge. I will no longer be sorrowful and grieved. I will be happy and joyful, be no God. I will no longer be full of anxiety and let trouble harass me. I will not do on the unpleasant things of life. O God, thou more friend to me than to myself. I dedicate myself to thee, O Lord.
Retired Commissioner of Police, Barrister Lawrence Alobi, is the chairman of the National Spiritual Assembly of the Baha'i community in Nigeria, and also the executive director of FOPSE. Sir, let me start by asking you, what does it really mean to have moral leadership in public institutions?
Yeah, you see, like Baula says, man was created to contribute towards advancing civilization. And to do that, and that also the purpose of God in creating man is to man to know God and attain his presence. For you to attain also, Baula also has to purify, like one of the writings in the Hidden Word, Baula said, and I quote, O Son of Spirit, my first counsel is this: possess a pure, kindly, and radiant heart, that thine may be a sovereignty, ancient and imperishable and everlasting. That we should possess a pure heart that is purified, that is the heart that is not concerned with things that are not worthy in the sight of God. And Baola says that in the Bible, it says that teaches us that you should not take anything that does not belong to you without the consent of the owner. That is honesty. What is important about the Bible life is the moral character, acquisition of those moral virtues of trustworthiness, rectitude of conduct, honesty, truthfulness, integrity, justice, service and humility. Those qualities that would elevate the station of man, not those qualities that will debase man. Like I said, you see, we believe that man is dual in nature. The dual nature of man consists of the material and the spiritual. And the material nature of man is concerned with the human needs. That is, it is concerned with the material needs, survival, comfort, pleasure. That's what the material nature of man. But the spiritual nature of man is concerned with patience, forgiveness, truthfulness, compassion, honesty, trustworthiness, rectitude of conduct, and the fear of God and the fear of shame. And this is what is emphasized. You must be of a trustworthy character. You have to make the Bible teaches us that we have to make ourselves worthy of the trust of other people, worthy of the trust of the people. So, therefore, corruption debases man. Corruption doesn't enable man it doesn't make man worthy of the trust of others. Because for man to be trustworthy, you need to live a transparent life. You don't live a life that is based on truthfulness, life is based on justice, life is based on contentment, life is not based on needs, not a life that is based on greed, materialism. Materialism and greed has been one of the main causes of corruption. People are concerned with desires, not needs. For instance, how many houses do you need? You don't sleep. How many houses do you need? How many cars do you need? What do you need as to meet their basic needs, or that will at least give you relative comfort? So we should be concerned with high faith is that we should have a sense of contentment, and should be concerned with our needs, not desires. So corruption is inimical to progress. Corruption is inimical, doesn't enable man to attain that desired station that God has created him. Corruption is because our sense of reason, sense of judgment, we are only concerned with self. Greed is concerned about self. We're not concerned about sacrifice. We're not concerned about service. We're only concerned what is good for us only. We're not concerned about the good of others. But the Baha'i faith religion is religious teaching based on moral and spiritual moral values that will enable, or ethical values that enable man to realize purpose of life. So when we build institutions that are anchored on these moral and spiritual values, you have a society that will promote justice, that promote integrity, that promote integrity and institutions, that promote transparency and accountability, and bring about the well-being of the human society.
All right. Okay. There's this argument that most public officers steal public funds for the fear of the unknown when they retire. How justify this argument?
You see, when you work sincerely, service attracts bounties. When you serve sincerely, God knows our needs than we know it. And so God is a giver of bounties. Service attracts bounties. When you serve sincerely to the good of humanity, when you say service as the act of worship, when you serve for the benefit of mankind, you are serving God. When you serve sincerely, God will give you wisdom and guidance to plan for your life. He will give you guidance make you to be proactive, make you to be think ahead and plan ahead, and work to see service as a passion. You have a passion to serve. You have a passion to your work. You do your work with service and joy. You don't serve because of what you want to benefit, but you will serve because of we are contributing towards a better society. So let me read what Baha'u'llah says here. He says about public servants, those who occupy positions in authority. It says, Baha'i faith teaches us that those individuals who occupy government offices and other positions should approach their duties with entire detachment, integrity, and independence of spirit, and with complete concentration and certainty of purpose. Their personal fulfillment cannot come from material reward, but from the devising of methods to ensure the progress of the people, from experiencing the delights of dispensing justice and drinking from the spirit of a clear conscience and a sincere intent. In the end, he said, the happiness and greatness of the rank of the and station of the individual, the pleasure and peace of the public servant does not consist in his personal wealth, but rather in his excellent character, his high resolve, his breadth, the breadth of his learning, and his ability to solve difficult problems for the good of humanity. So this is the station which every public servant, it is your character. Are you there to serve for the good of the people, or are you there to serve your selfish interests? When you serve, look at, we're now in this room and we're enjoying free oxygen. Life is a life of service. We enjoy free rain, free sunshine, free oxygen, free rainfall, free life, free world. What are we giving back to humanity? That's why Baha'u'llah says man was created to contribute towards ever advancing civilization. We're not created to cheat. When you cheat, nature cheats you. Those who dwell on bribery and corruption, there's a consequence. They are cheating themselves. If you cheat, nature will cheat you. That money that you get illegally, like ill-gotten wealth, it will pass like a floating cloud. It will bring problems that that money cannot solve. So when you have sense of contentment, your character to render service, sincere service, based on honesty, based on trustworthy character, based on rectitude of conduct. These are the things that will promote the betterment of the world. So public servants are enjoined to demonstrate moral and spiritual ethical values when carrying out their duties. It should be at least we should have basic needs for every human society. We have enough to cater for all of us. Then when we avoid greed and avarice, we'll be there. If we are concerned with our needs, not desires, we have a sense of contentment, not greed, not avarice. There will be no corruption. They'll have no reason. We have no reason to get what we don't need. Let's be concerned with our needs and not desires.
All right. Now this brings me to the issue of the level of corruption in society today. These corrupt public officers are members of different religious organizations. I mean, will you say the religious bodies are doing enough to ensure that their members who are public office holders have this moral leadership in them so as to ensure that they don't tamper with public property?
You see, like I said earlier, the Bible teaches us that Bible says, do not take anything that does not belong to you without a consent on the owner, however worthless that thing may be. So even if you are entrusted with billions, you're entrusted with any government property or anything, either as a director, as a minister, as any governor, as anything, whatever position you occupy, you are there, that office is given to you in trust. You're supposed to be honest, supposed to be truthful, supposed to promote integrity and transparency and accountability and integrity. You don't so take anything that doesn't belong to you, however worthless, without the consent of the owner. So those public officers who do that, they are destroying their spiritual growth because they have a spiritual life to live, to progress spiritually to the eternal world where they live with the Creator. And those religious institutions, you see, unfortunately that most religious institutions in the country concerned about prosperity, breakthrough. Material progress alone does not bring human happiness. It doesn't enable man to attain purpose why he was created. Man must balance both the material and spiritual advancement of his life. And those material development or progress is anchored on those spiritual religious teachings. So religious institutions should teach those moral and spiritual values that will enable man to understand the purpose of life. That life is all about money and power. Life is all about service. And service, and we should be concerned about needs, not desires. So power, money and power, religious institutions that emphasizes on issue of breakthrough, prosperity, money and power will not help to promote the desired ethical institution we need to establish in the society. In fact, the Baha'i community development process is all about transforming the character of man, from the child, from infants, from that we have program for children, we have program for adult youth, we have program for adult. It's all aimed at transforming, reorienting our attitude and character in line with spiritual and moral values, to be anchored on those spiritual teachings. When this is done, so that mankind will see himself as the true, will be able to achieve the true happiness, and will see himself as contributing. There's an obligation to contribute towards the betterment of society, to contribute towards the social good of others, to serve and not to manipulate or to cheat.
All right, okay, we'll go on a break now, and when we return, the program continues. Welcome back from that break. If you're just tuning in, the program is Peace, Unity, and Security Education. The topic has been on overcoming corruption and promoting moral leadership and integrity in public institutions, the Baha'i perspective. And our guest has been retired Commissioner of Police, Barrister Lawrence Alubi, who is also the chairman of the National Spiritual Assembly of the Baha'i community in Nigeria. The issue of corruption is really a very serious one in Nigeria. There are laws, so many laws to check corruption in public institutions, and yet we record corruption on a monumental scale. Day in, day out. Will you say that people are actually calling that for stiffer penalties, like in other crimes, like in China, where corrupt officials are sentenced to death? Will you really advocate that we have a stiffer penalty on the part of the government to ensure that corruption is brought to the barest minimum in public institutions?
Yeah, to a large extent, stiffer punishment can reduce, or at least minimize corruption and other crimes. But the important thing is the moral and spiritual character of the individual. That's the most key and central thing. If leaders, institutions, and every citizen is able to imbibe those moral and spiritual values, then the corruption will be eliminated. Because institutions, and if the institutions have the capacity to promote that is anchored on those moral and spiritual values, and the leaders also have their character is also anchored. Their character is also based on those moral and spiritual values, ethical values. The leadership that is meant to empower, to serve, and accountability, transparency, and honesty, trustworthy character, and even the government, the citizens also should also have the same moral character that are anchored on those spiritual moral teachings of various religions. If that is on religions, no religion will de-emphasize spiritual moral values. It's only mankind. The mankind has now come to pollute the teaching, divine religions, all religions, cause concern. The concern, when they say Christ shall make fishers of men, not fishers of men to catch men, it is heart. Bible says the heart is the throne of God. The throne, our deeds should reflect our belief. Our belief in God. God is a God of mercy. God is a God of justice. God is a God of truthfulness. So if we believe in God, we should manifest God in our life by being honesty, by assuming that we exhibit honesty in all our dealings, trustworthy character, noble character, and not to debase ourselves by getting involved in corruption and bribery, or cheating, or killing, election rigging, just because we want to grab power, to be able to have access to funds that you can loot the treasury. So it is debasing and beastly to this ill-gotten where people go about the beastly attitude where people go about the pursuit for wealth and materialism, wealth and power. It is beastly and it's unworthy in the sight of God. Heaven and hell can be on this earth. Hell is when you are far from God. Heaven is when you are close to God. And you can only be close to God when you do those things that worthy in the sight of God. His light will shine upon you. But when you are far from God, you think that money and power is ultimate. Manipulate, do everything, cultish activities and so forth. You are far from God. You might have all the power here on earth, but then your power is your power will just end here on this material world. In the next world, you'll be tormented. You'll be tormented. Your soul will be tormented because you have not been able to follow the will of God. You able to do those things that is within the sight of God. True happiness does not lie in money and power. True happiness lies on those noble character, those trustworthy character.
All right, we've heard stories of public officers who refuse to be dragged into corrupt practices, and they find one way or the other to butch them out of that position. What will you say to such victims of public officers who failed to play game, to be dragged into corrupt practices, and the next thing they find themselves booted out of that position?
It doesn't matter. Life is transitory. Life is transient, and no position is. You that leave an office will leave you one day. Even those in power want to leave those offices. They'll be living in denial, and if they feel that their power, they will remain there forever. You see, If, for instance, because of your transparency and integrity, which you stand for, those because you stand for accountability, you stand for moral, ethical conduct in whatever you're doing, even if you're put out of office, God will exalt you. God knows our need. There's a way God will reward you bountifully. God, the way man you see, can reward your children, you can be doing well, can reward you with good health, can reward you in various ways. And God tempts us. Let me see that if you're in any way office occupy, know that you'll be tempted. One of the writings in the Bible said, with fire we taste gold, and with gold we test man. So don't be tempted because you are in position you see money begin to carry away upon you for me, this is our time. And people will be pushed by people to go and still say it's our time, it's our time. Your time there is to contribute towards the betterment of the human society. Your time is to contribute towards the promotion of integrity in public institutions, promotion of moral leadership. Moral leadership, not a leadership that is all out to control or dominate. Leaders who are there to serve, not leaders who are there to manipulate the people and impoverish the people. Leaders who are obligated to serve and promote the well-being and happiness of the common good of man, of all. That's the good true leadership. And leaders who are there leaders who have the fear of God. Leaders who believe that they'll be one day be asked to account for their deeds. And every human being has to account for his deed. That's about what Allah said. We should each day bring ourselves to account and we are summoned. We don't know when God will summon us to someone else. When our life on earth here will terminate, we'll be called to account. So therefore, let's prepare. Like a child and a woman prepares to come to this mortal world. Let's all prepare to have a brief sojourn to our Creator, so we can abide in Him in peace and happiness.
Once again, the program is Peace, Unity and Security Education, and the topic has been on overcoming corruption and promoting moral leadership and integrity in public institutions, the Baha'i perspective. If you want to contribute to this discourse, send a message to the number on the screen. Our time is fast spent, but before we eventually wrap up, for those that wants to know more about the Baha'i faith, the teachings of the Baha'i faith, how can they reach the Baha'i community?
Yeah, the Baha'i faith is principal objective to promote world peace and world unity, and to transform the inner character and outer character of man and society. That is to bring about a peaceful and secure and stable society, and that is anchored on moral and spiritual values. If you want to find more about the Baha'i faith, our website is being projected on the screen. The addresses, our Baha'i house in Gwarinpa, the address is being shown. Our office in Zawda and also regional office in Lagos. You can also call or Google from our website and find more about the Baha'i faith. One of the principles of the Baha'i faith is self-investigation of the truth. You have to investigate the truth. So don't allow your thought to be clouded by previous belief or dogmas or prejudice. Have a clear mind. Investigate the truth and find out whether this religion is truly religion for this age, the religion that promotes peace and unity. Like I said, the purpose of my Baha'i faith is to bring about the world peace and unity and to transform the human character in line with the teachings of God. So leaders, both leaders and the led, all of us, all human beings in society should work towards a betterment of society, not the betterment of their selfish interests. You should concern about the social good of all, should be a channel of God's grace to others, should have to impact positively to the life of others, not think about self. Self is a characteristic of the animal, the beast. If we live our life based on contentment, based on our needs, not desires, we'll be checking corruption and promoting integrity in public service, and also ensuring that life that will be concerned with the good of all, concerned with the social good of all, and not concerned with selfish interests, which is beastly and animalistic.
Let me ask you this very important question. We are talking of corruption in public institutions. When a corrupt public officer comes back home with ill-gotten wealth, can the child or the wife or the husband, caution or even report?
Yeah, you see, it also depends on what values the wife has attained, what value children have attained. Children learn. Family is an agent of socialization. If the children are beginning to socialize to living a luxurious life, living on some consumption that is not controlled, living based on desires, not needs, and not have a sense of contentment, the children will think that when parents lose money and come, it thinks the same. It's a good attitude and it's a trustworthy character. But when parents, wives who believe, no, my husband, you don't do this, and the husband also learn, because the husband is the father and mother, they want to inculcate this value in the family. So the children, of course, the man is said to be head of the family. The wife is also there to support the husband. So, but it is better for both the man and the wife, the man and the husband and the wife, to live a moral character, so they can build in their children those moral and spiritual character. Because the children learn from what they see and hear. See, when I was growing up as a child in my community, if you see a child, if a mother see a child with anything that's not getting, do not procure or buy for the child, you ask, where did you get this? And the child will be punished. You don't bring this and this. So children have fear not to live a luxurious, to live that kind of life that is based on corrupt practices. But then there was fear, but now there's no fear because of moral decay, moral bankruptcy in society. So these are moral values we have be reorientated and revived and renewed. They will now begin to imbibe those moral values, those spiritual values that will help us to build a society that is anchored on justice, that is anchored on moral and ethical values, that is anchored on trustworthy and the rectitude of conduct, where people will now be concerned about service and about the good of all and the social good of all, not concerned about themselves and selfish interests.
All right, okay, that's much we can take on today's edition of the program. Stay tuned as we come your way with another interesting package, same time next week. But before we go, let's pray.
It's a prayer for morning. Let us pray. I have woken in thy shelter, O my God, and becometh him that seeketh that shelter, to abide within the sanctuary of thy protection and the stronghold of thy defense. Illumine my inner being, O my Lord, with the splendors of thy revelation, even as I did in my outer being, with the morning light of thy favor. This prayer was revealed by Baha'u'llah himself, the prophet of the Baha'i faith.
Well, thanks for watching. God bless you.
In a bombed out room in Belfast, a young boy is crying. He's alone and he don't understand how the teachings of one book, built on love and understanding, could cause the hurt and killing in his land. In an old part of Jerusalem, two children are playing. They run and laugh the way that it should be. But one will wear the star and one will wear the crescent. They'll grow up and change from friends to enemies.